Welcome, pen people, to the first episode of What Was I Inking for April, which is my version of a currently inked overview. I used up the ink in 5 of my pens and wanted to take this opportunity to go over my process of tracking and re-inking my pens. Show you the process that I go through to keep track of what ink I have in what pens, and I will pick out ink with you guys. These are the pens that I have inked at any one given time. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 19 here, and I keep around 2 at 2 different computers I use. So those are out there floating around. They're not in this group at the moment. To go over what I have here, these 5 pens I use in my planner, and they have dedicated colors: purple, red, blue, green, pink. Now, that may change brand. If I get tired of a blue, I might pick a different blue. The ones that are pretty set, the green, the blue, the red, and the purple, I have specific inks I like to use. I'm not dead set on the pink yet, so I'm still looking for a good pink. If anybody knows of a good pink that's not too dark that would work well in a flex pen, let me know in the comments, because I am still looking. So these 5 stay the same. These 2 are filled with shimmer inks. They keep shimmer inks, that way if I miss a fleck or 2 of shimmer when I clean them out, it's okay, because shimmer ink is going back into them. Those are dedicated for that. This pen is the one I use the most. It has gray ink in it because that's what I do a lot of just general writing with. Right now it has this, my favorite gray at the moment, which is this Dominant Industry Downpour. I love the bottle and I really like this ink. It's got great shading. These 2 pens are both broader. This is a parallel pen, so you know that's broad. And this is a Lamy with a 1.5 stub in it that is broader than I want to just write with on a day-to-day basis. I use these for titling, and they will have whatever I feel like putting into them at the time. These are the 4 that I just cleaned, and they all belong into this general category. These are all pens that I write journal entries with, or book reviews, or any longer form writing, and they are the ones that I like to try to use samples up in, and none of them really have a dedicated color. These 4 belong in that group as well. So this is the overview of the pens, and I'm going to show you my currently inked sheet now, and then we'll pick out some colors for these. This is my day-to-day planner. It's what I carry around with me. It has my calendar, some trackers, and it does have a section on ink and pens. I will move things in and out of this planner as I fill sheets out. Where I'm at right now is I am going to go to my pen section. And this is how I keep track of my currently inked pens. I write down the date, the pen, the ink. When I use something up, and I generally do use stuff up, I don't de-ink stuff unless an ink is giving me a very, very hard time. Once I de-ink it, I actually just started using washi tape. I was just doing a scribble there and it looked messy. I didn't like it. So I'm putting a piece of washi tape here to show that that is no longer in the pen, but anything that doesn't have washi tape in front of it is still inked. If I get a new pen, I will write new on the side so that I can know that there's not going to be anything before. I like to do it this way because I have 23 plus pens inked at any one time, and keeping them all on one sheet and doing a new sheet doesn't really make sense I also don't change the ink on a specific schedule, so I can't just start in a March or whatever. I re-ink pens as I use them up. And some of the pens, I go through ink very quickly because they are flex pens. The one that holds the gray ink, I will re-ink constantly. I don't have a problem, obviously, with anybody doing that way. I think it works great for a lot of people. It's just not my preference. So at the moment, there are a few pens on here that are saying that they're inked, and they are not. This is the first one, so I'm going to go ahead and do the washi. I'm having a hard time finding because I think I decided the other day to de-ink it. Yes, so it was right here. But I think I might ink it anyway, so I don't have to cover that. It's already been covered. This should be accurate. But as you saw, I'm on the last sheet, and I only like keeping 2 of these in my planner at any given time. So I'm going to want to take any information that's on here about pens that are still inked and move it to this new sheet. So I will go ahead and do that. And I'm going to have to track down a couple pens that are other places. So I will be right back. These were the 2 pens that I had to track down. It's a TWSBI Eco. This always has black in it, and a TWSBI Precision that has some nib issues. So it makes me too angry to use in my planner on a regular basis. So it sits by a computer right now to take notes with. These are the ones that are going to need to be moved to the new sheet. So I will fill out the information, I pull the date over, and just write the same thing. I've moved everything from this sheet over. 5 pens to ink up. The ink that I keep in this right now is Red Dragon by Diamine. And my bottle of this is so old. I should probably get a new one. That it's got the old labeling on it. Fill that. And we'll mark it on the ink tracker. After I fill a pen, especially a flex pen, I like to just make sure we've not got a huge blob of ink sitting around the corner. Looks pretty good. So like I just wrote, this is a Fountain Pen Revolution Jaipur version 1. The version 1 has a 5.5 size nib on it. It's an Ultra Flex with an ebonite feed, and it is a piston filler. I do like both the Jaipur version 1 and version 2 Fountain Pen Revolution. They're some of my favorite pens. That one is done. Now for these 4, I need to pick what color I'd like to put in them, and I'm going to have to think about that for a little bit. Like I said, I want to try to use up some samples So I'm going to shop through my book here and see what I might want to put in these. And now we're just getting into lots of grays and blacks. Here are some options I pulled. I have Troublemaker, Nanita. I'd like to use up the last bit of this lavender black, which is an Iron Gall ink. And then I pulled some brownish inks for that orange pen, either Ancient Copper or Haho Mask. And then a blue black, Colorverse, might go in that white, and then pale violet and viola might go in the blue pen or this turquoise. So I think I'll do the lavender black in the pink pen. I think I'll do Ancient Cotton. Let's try this Nanita. I've had that for quite a while now. I'll do this blue black in the white pen, and which has got the least? I think the turquoise or the viola. They're pretty close. I'll do the turquoise and the blue. We'll start with the lavender black. There's so little of it left in there that I think it needs to go here, and that might even be pushing it. I really like this ink, and I wanted to get a bottle of it almost from the first time I tried it, but the ink is not an inexpensive ink. I kind of had sticker shock, so maybe at some point, but let's just get through the sample first. Might have to just fill the converter. We'll see. Oh, I might be grabbing it. Yeah, I think that's about as good as it's gonna get. It's not bad. Then we're doing the Troublemaker Nanita. Don't believe this has shimmer in it. I think it's just a sheening ink, but I'm just gonna gently agitate it a bit just in case. This one was leaking through the back of the converter. Well, as you can see, because it's covered in blue. So I'm gonna have to clean this up. Pause, please, be right back. I think we're in good shape now. Almost. This is a Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya version 2. The Himalayas have ebonite feeds and take a number 6 flex nib, and they are not my favorite of the Fountain Pen Revolution pens because of the converter. The converter is a threaded converter. I've screwed it on pretty tight here, but I can show you the old converter. It's a threaded converter. I feel like I have to put silicone grease on this every time. And I feel like back here it's got some problems, so I much prefer the piston fillers from Fountain Pen Revolution, but it does write nicely. Back to this Troublemaker Nanita. We'll go ahead and get it filled. Should be pretty good. It's about half. They also don't fill all the way, and I know I can fuss with them to make them fill, but I'm okay with changing inks. This is a Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling. This only comes with a plastic feed, and the nib slips. I almost didn't re-ink this, and I kind of am still of that opinion, but I'm gonna give it one last shot. And if it gives me issues with writing and skipping, I will de-ink it for real and just retire it. This is a 1.1 stub nib on here, and we're gonna fill it with Colorverse Jeongchuk Haesong. And excuse my pronunciation if it's incorrect. It's a blue-black. Okay, we're about half full with that. This is also a converter from them. Okay. And then lastly, this is a Fountain Pen Revolution. This is also a Himalaya, but it's a version 1. And the version 1, it writes very nice as a flex pen, but this converter is a nightmare. It's like a pump converter, and it is impossible if you are writing and you start getting starved on ink to just gently, like the other ones, you can twist and just twist them a little bit and force some ink into the feed. This one, you're like trying to gently push and you spew ink out everywhere. I like the color of this pen a lot, but it is version 1 and I don't really care for it. It's also threaded, but it's threaded differently, and there's an O-ring here. There's just more points of failure. This is another one that after I find another flex pen to replace it, I may retire as well. But let's put this Aurora turquoise from the last ink fight into it. Okay, now that we're all inked up, let's get these inks listed on this sheet. This is the Lavender Black that's in this pink Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya version 2. Make sure we don't have a disaster waiting here. Okay. I really do love this ink though, because it's going to start out pink and then turn into this dark. And it's just got nice shading. Ooh, whoops. It's got this nice shading in like this E and the V. And it actually behaves pretty well in pens. So I probably will get a bottle of this at some point. Next, Himalaya, again, version 2. This I've never put into a flex pen before, so I'm not sure how it's gonna write or look or anything. It is dark in this pen. we're gonna give it a shot. That is extremely wet. So it is showing as black. I guess we'll see when it dries. Fountain Pen Revolution 1.1 stub. Almost de-inked this pen. We're gonna give it a shot. We'll see. Yeah, this pen is just dumping ink out. It's not bleeding through yet, but it could be because it's just been inked, but I'll have to keep an eye on that. Last, we'll do this Himalaya version 1 Fountain Pen Revolution with Aurora Turquoise. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. We'll see how it behaves in the converter. Because I used a sample up, I actually get to fill out some bonus information. Ink samples I completely used up. Very straightforward. And I like to give it a rating. I really do like this ink a lot. Even though I agree, Stormy. Even though I don't like the price. So I am going to give this a 9. And it's only losing out because of the cost. And if I do get a bottle later, I'll write that I got a bottle of it. So I've used up 8 whole samples. 8 down, a whole lot to get through. Now that that's done, I just want to go through my currently inked. I'm just going to zoom through this pretty fast. We can go all the way on this sheet down to here. This is on my desk right now, but Twisby Eco with J. Herbin Vert Empire. Then I have the Pilot Parallel pen. It's 2.4. That's inked with Kobe 53 Pearl Silver. Really pretty, light gray ink. I really like this ink a lot. It's not great for day-to-day writing because of how light it is. This is one of my planner colors. It is in Fountain Pen Revolution, Jaipur. It's a 5.5. It is the J. Herbin Violet Pensee. It's really a nice purple, especially in a flex pen because it still comes through as purple, which is not easy. Then I have the Himalaya version 2 Black Pearl. It has Red Beans and Rice by Paper Plume. One of my favorite inks. I'm going to have to do a video on it though because it behaves kind of poorly in flex pens and it could use some help of some additive, but you have to be so careful with those, and I want to talk about that. Then the Fountain Pen Revolution Guru pen, it's an Ultraflex as well. This is also a piston filler, which is what I prefer from them. They're clutchless, so they also are very easy to take apart. This pen doesn't have the best reviews on the site, but it's also extremely inexpensive. So this is a good one, especially if it's on sale, to try out flex pens with. It does have the 5.5 nib, which will do a less pronounced flex, but it's a nice pen. This is one of my journal pens. It always has blue in it, and right now it has Ferris wheel press 3 Steamboats. Then I have another Fountain Pen Revolution Guru. It is a black and demonstrator. It's almost out. This is my pink pen that I use in my planner, and it has Inky Vera Fairy Tale Pink in it, which is a great tone. I just wish it had some sort of shading. If it's shaded at all, I would stick with it, but there is no shading there. Then we're going to go down to the Jaipur version 2 Ultra Flex that when I bought in the exact same color twice by accident. So here it is. And so I have this silver piece of tape on here to help me remember, though I should just take the clip off of one. That would look a lot nicer than this. But in any case, this has an Ultra Flex nib in it, and it is inked with Wearing Gulls Lost, which is it's a nice color. I like the shading. It's a good one. Then we have a version 1 Jaipur. This is one of my shimmer pens. It has Vinta Pagtangi in it. Nice ink. To a point, the shimmer is pretty out of control. I kind of compare this is like Wearing Gulls I'm a Cat, but Wearing Gulls I'm a Cat has a reasonable, pretty amount of shimmer in it, and this is too much. But it's also a sample I'm trying to use up, so it's in there right now. Then I have I already talked about it, my main pen, Dominant Industry Downpour. These X's are when I do refills on pens. That's what those are. So I've refilled this Pagtangi once and Dominant Industry once. This Jinhao is downstairs, and I'm not going to go get it, but it's filled with Colorverse Tangerine. This is one of the pens I just keep by my computers. The other planner pen I have, the green one, I like to keep filled with Robert Oster Sublime because it's a little more yellow of a green than this, but I have Van Diemen's Sea Dragon from a sample I'm trying to use up in it right now. Then the Parker 14 ring top vintage flex pen that I have is filled with Herbin Cacau do Bresil, which is a pretty brownish gray that reads not quite as brown in a flex pen. Then we went through these already, this entire page. So that's where I'm at with my currently inked fountain pens. And then with this being dry, I'll put it back in my planner. And if I grab a pen and I'm not sure what's in it, I can just refer to this. Thanks again for stopping by. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the process, or let me know how you like to do your currently inked. I always like talking to people. 90% of why I'm doing these videos is to meet other people in the fountain pen community. And I'm very excited to meet you. So thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.